Have you ever wondered what could happen if your imagination turned into reality? Let's delve into the world of a solitary figure, an artist named Henry. This isn't your average artist, though. Henry is a recluse, a man who prefers the company of his canvases to that of other humans. He resides in a mansion, far removed from the bustling city, its towering walls a testament to his isolation. It's here, in this fortress of solitude, that his art takes shape, his obsession with creating lifelike paintings consuming his every waking moment. Henry's art isn't like anything you've seen before. His paintings aren't merely pictures. They are windows into other worlds, worlds that seem so real, you'd think you could step right into them. His brushstrokes bring to life scenes of such vivid detail, such lifelike quality. It's as if he's not painting but capturing reality itself on canvas. But Henry's art isn't a celebration of beauty or joy. No, his paintings are unsettling, eerie, filled with dark shadows and haunting figures. They're snapshots of a world not quite our own, a world where the macabre and the grotesque hold sway. His creations are the stuff of nightmares, images that stay with you, that creep into your dreams and turn them into restless, fear-filled sleep. Yet it's this very darkness that draws Henry in, that fuels his obsession. He's not just painting these scenes, he's living them, dwelling in them. His art is his reality, a reality he prefers to the mundane world outside his mansion walls. But every obsession comes with a price. And for Henry, this price would be more than he could ever imagine. As he delves deeper into his art, as he loses himself in his nightmarish creations, he's about to discover a terrifying truth, a truth that will blur the lines between art and reality, between imagination and existence. But little did Henry know his life was about to take a sinister turn. One day, an unsuspecting visitor stepped into Henry's eerie mansion. This man was an esteemed art collector, a connoisseur of the strange and the surreal. His name was Charles, and he'd heard whispers about the reclusive artist and his curious works. Charles was instantly drawn to the mansion's gloomy ambience. The walls were adorned with art, each piece more enigmatic than the last. Yet among all the paintings, one captured his fascination. It was an image of a forest, dark and foreboding. The trees were gnarled, their branches twisting and reaching out like skeletal hands. The shadows seemed alive, pulsing with an unseen energy. Charles couldn't help but feel a sense of dread, yet he was entranced. He found himself stepping closer, peering into the canvas. The forest seemed to grow deeper, the shadows darker. The air around him felt colder. He could almost hear the rustling of leaves, the distant hoot of an owl. It was as if the painting was pulling him in, whispering promises of untold mysteries. Charles was so lost in the painting that he didn't notice the room around him fading away. The walls of the mansion melted into the shadows of the forest. The floor beneath his feet turned into a carpet of fallen leaves. His heart pounded in his chest as he realized he was no longer in the mansion. He was inside the painting. He turned around, looking for an exit, but the forest had closed in around him. The mansion, the real world, was nowhere to be seen. Panic surged through him as he realized he was trapped. He tried to scream, to call for help, but the forest swallowed his cries. The last thing he saw was the haunting glow of the moon, peering through the twisted branches above. And just like that, the man was gone, swallowed by the canvas. The mansion fell silent once again, its dark secret hidden within the depths of a painted forest. The first victim of Henry's nightmarish art had been claimed. Henry was puzzled by the disappearance, but the horror was only beginning. It was as if his world had begun to unravel, his once peaceful isolation now marred by an eerie sense of dread. His nights were filled with a restless unease, his dreams haunted by the faces of his paintings. His days, once spent in the comforting solitude of his studio, were now consumed by a growing suspicion. The once familiar canvases seemed to shift and warp before his eyes, their painted subjects coming to life with a chilling realism. The serene landscapes were now cloaked in an ominous gloom, the once vibrant hues now tainted with an unsettling darkness. His investigation into the sudden disappearance led him down a path he never expected. He pored over his paintings, scrutinizing every brushstroke, every detail, his heart pounding with a disturbing realization. His art, his passion, his escape, they were changing, becoming something he didn't recognize. The eyes of his subjects seemed to follow him, their expressions morphing into twisted grimaces. A sense of paranoia slowly crept over him. It was as if his paintings were watching him, their silent stares echoing the whispers of his growing fear. His hands trembled as he reached out, brushing his fingers against the canvas, half expecting it to pulse beneath his touch. He was met with the cold, lifeless texture of paint and canvas, yet the unsettling feeling that something was horribly wrong lingered. His mind raced with countless questions. Was he going mad, or was there something more sinister at play? The portraits that once held a mirror to his soul now seemed to hold a doorway to a world he dared not imagine. The once tranquil silence of his studio was now filled with an ominous hum, the air thick with a palpable tension. The figures in his paintings seemed to beckon him, their twisted smiles hinting at a secret only they knew. And then it hit him. A wave of comprehension so chilling, it left him gasping. His art was not just alive, it was alive with a malevolent intent. His sanctuary had become his prison, his creations his captors. As the truth dawned on him, Henry was consumed by terror. Plunged into his own nightmarish creations, Henry was trapped in a world of his making. A realm where every brushstroke bore a haunting visage, every hue echoed with chilling whispers. The once cozy cottage he'd painted was now a decaying edifice standing in the void. Its windows stared back at him like hollow eyes, and the once vibrant garden was a gnarled labyrinth of thorny vines. As he ventured deeper, the landscape around him rippled, alive with his darkest fears. He waded through a sea of haunting faces etched into the bark of twisted trees, their silent screams echoing in the wind. The sky above was an oppressive tapestry of stormy grays and inky blacks, a swirling vortex that mirrored the chaos within him. Suddenly, amidst the grotesque scenery, he spotted a familiar figure. It was the missing art collector, now a part of the painting. His eyes, once filled with admiration for Henry's art, were now vacant, his body frozen in a state of perpetual terror. The sight of him trapped within the confines of the canvas sent a shiver down Henry's spine. He was a living testament to the horrifying power of Henry's art. Each step Henry took was a descent into madness, a journey through a world born of his own imagination. His creations, once confined to the canvas, now roamed free, their monstrous forms a cruel reflection of his inner demons. But as terrifying as they were also his only companions in this desolate realm. Henry realized then the grim truth of his predicament. His pursuit for lifelike art had led him down a path of no return. The very talent that had once brought him joy now held him captive. He was no longer the creator, but the created. The artist had become the art. In his quest for lifelike art, Henry had become a prisoner of his own masterpiece. Bound by the very brushstrokes that had once given him freedom, he was now trapped in a world of his own making, a world that was a chilling testament to the terrifying power of his art. Would Henry ever escape his painted prison? Our artist, Henry, trapped in his own creation, was now a prisoner in a world of oil and canvas. The realm of nightmares he'd created had become his reality, his solitary confinement where he was both the jailer and the jailed. The characters he'd painted, once lifeless figures, were now breathing, living nightmares. He was lost in a maze of his own making, a labyrinth of horror. In desperation, Henry picked up his brushes once again, not to create more tormentors, but to craft an escape. He began to paint a door, a portal back to the real world. Each stroke was filled with hope, each dab of color a plea for liberation. His hand moved with a feverish intensity, his concentration unbroken by the monstrous creations lurking in the shadows of his painted world. But as he finished, he looked upon his creation with uncertainty. Could a painted door lead back to reality? Would this portal free him from his painted prison, or was it just another part of this nightmarish realm? The door stood there, a beacon amidst the chaos, a symbol of hope, or possibly a cruel joke of his own making. He reached out, his hand trembling, his heart pounding. He touched the painted door, and for a moment, everything stood still. Did he step through, back to the world of flesh and blood, or did he remain trapped, a captive in his own painted purgatory? The lines blurred between reality and nightmare, between freedom and imprisonment. The ending is as ambiguous as the strokes of Henry's brush, as uncertain as the fate of our solitary artist. Did he escape, or is he forever entwined with his monstrous creation? And so, the artist remains trapped, or does he? Only the canvas knows. The story ends here, or does it? Like a painting left to dry, our tale is open for interpretation, leaving you, the viewer, to ponder the fate of our artist. If you enjoyed this haunting tale of Henry, the artist trapped in his own creation, then don't forget to hit that like button. Your likes are the strokes of color that bring life to our narrative canvas. Each share is a dab of pigment spreading the story across the vast canvas of the internet. And every subscription is a brushstroke, adding depth and complexity to our community of art and horror enthusiasts. Together, we can create a masterpiece, a gallery of chilling tales where every viewer is both an artist and a critic. So if you want to explore more nightmarish realms, unearth more mysteries, and meet more solitary artists, then hit that subscribe button and join us on this creative journey. And remember, every like, share, and subscribe helps keep the nightmares alive. Just like Henry, we're all trapped in the canvas of our own creation. But unlike him, we have the power to shape our narrative, to craft our escape, or to stay and explore the labyrinth of horror. The choice is yours. Will you step through the painted door, or will you remain, forever entwined with the monstrous creations lurking in the shadows of our tales? The ending is as ambiguous as the strokes of your mouse, as uncertain as the fate of our solitary artist. Do you escape or do you stay? Only the screen knows. The story ends here, or does it? Like a video left to buffer, our tale is open for interpretation, leaving you, the viewer, to ponder the fate of our artist and yourself.